What happens in the sky affects life down here on Earth. The celestial compass shows you how and guides your way with astrology you can use from professional astrologer Kathy Biehl. Every episode features her light-hearted, practical forecasts and navigational tips, blended with humor, optimism, and a love of patterns, symbolism, and pop culture references. Kathy translates technicalities into concepts that apply to real life. You'll learn how the current moment ties to where we've been, from the recent past to cycles that last happened years ago, and get a look at where we're heading. And much more, from special topics to special guests. The Celestial Compass, enlightening, entertaining, and empowering. Here's your host, Kathy Biehl.
Greetings, Earthlings. This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net, and on this week's episode, we're going to take a slight change of pace. Instead of my just giving you a quickie forecast and then introducing a guest and having a long conversation, the entire show is a forecast festival. I thought it would be fun to do that because the equinox is coming up in September, and so we're going to look at what is likely to be happening every month through the rest of the year. And my guest is my friend Beverly Biehl. Yes, same last name. No relation that we know of. She is the owner of the Intuitive Interior, and she is a visionary and mentor for people who crave more clarity, joy, abundance, and purpose. She's a feng shui master, energy alchemist, creation catalyst, coincidence creator, and intuitive coach. She actually has more labels than I do. I salute you, Beverly, and welcome.
Thanks, Kathy. Yeah, I kind of get a little excited about just trying to help people understand what I do because, quite frankly, miracles can happen, first of all, with any time, but especially when you do things with intention and focus. So thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, this will be great. Now, everyone, also, the nice little coincidence is that we are in the building hours of the Virgo new moon, and Beverly is a double Virgo, so you're going to get lots of information from us. I'm going to be approaching things from a Western astrology point of view, and Beverly has a wonderful bag of tricks that uses a variety of Eastern techniques. So let's start with the month of September. And my forecast for this is already up at Om Times and at my site, empowermentunlimited.net. And from the Western astrology point of view, September is a month of still cleaning up a lot of things. And I have 4 main points. We get a fresh start with the current Virgo new moon. There's a highly Uranian element to it. I posted something on Facebook about be the change you want to see in the world as one way of going about that. The social, in the first half of the month, we're really into effective, focused action. And in the second half of the month, we move more into collaboration, taking other people into account, also fighting for contracts, agreements, social justice. So there could be a mediating aspect to it, a collaborating aspect, a backhanded sort of passive-aggressive aspect. The social mode is going to become very, very intense when it will feel like we have Halloween early. Venus, the planet that rules our social interactions, is going to have a link to Pluto, the lord of the underworld, and all the stuff we don't like to talk about in public. And then she's moving into the territory he rules, which is the sign of Scorpio, and she's there into the beginning of October. And the final thing I will say astrologically about September is we're in retrorama. All of the outer planets are retrograde, which means we have many, many opportunities to go back over and revisit issues that were brought to our attention that maybe we didn't fully address earlier in the year. And at the end of the month, on September 27th, we have, yes, the sky is falling, the last Mercury retrograde of the year, which goes into the middle of October. So by the end of the month, we will feel very much like we're just digging deeper and like roto-rootering into the past and into ourselves. Take it away, Beverly.
Woo! Okay, so following that, the September is a yin fire rooster month, and the way that the Chinese element, the Chinese astrology works is you're always combining the yin or the yang version of an element with the zodiac signs, with the 12 signs. Let's just kind of start first with yin fire. Just that element alone can be a little interesting, because if you think about a dark room, it only takes one tea light for you to illuminate the entire room. So a lot of times that yin fire is this soft glow. It kind of can give you like that romantic feel, but you hold that soft glow of a flashlight up underneath your chin, and suddenly you've got a horror movie waiting to happen. Which is the big warning about September from the Chinese astrology perspective, because yin fire has at its core a little bit of volatility and it can be kind of destructive. In fact, historically, the Chinese would look at the yin fire months as possible warnings of terrorist attacks, economic disruption, maybe even wars. So there's a little bit of that volatility going on, like what you're talking about there, Kathy, with that passive aggressiveness coming up, and that focused action. So the reason why, though, it can be so, it's looked at being so destructive, is because yin is associated with the water and metal elements, and then when you mix that with fire melts the metal, and fire turns water into steam. So it can actually it doesn't have to always be destructive. It can be very productive. It can, if you're really managing it with respect and being intentional about things, you can temper the anger, you can find the resolutions, you can make the change. It's that collaboration, like you were just talking about there, Ms. Kathy. And because women typically are associated with the yin element, that means that there's a lot of opportunity for powerful women this month to take charge, make the plans, because the rooster is a very practical, grounded, and organized animal sign. Gee, a Virgo concept. What a they're not, roosters don't enjoy a lot of surprises, and so they really manage that energy. And so when it's this, I'm excited about September's energy, because that steam engine can really move a lot of heavy stuff. And so we've got that. When you've got the grounded rooster energy combined with the yin fire, you're going to get a dedicated concept, a dedicated focus. You're going to be, if there's anything to get upset about, and if there's injustice going on, this rooster, yin fire rooster energy, no holds barred. Because again, we see how roosters, they like to, cock-a-doodle-doo and toot their own horns, and they will claw you if you want to be naughty to them. The one thing I was going to say is, the last time there was a year that, like right now we're in the year of the metal ox, the yin metal ox, and the last time that there was a yin fire rooster year was 2017. So when you're talking about the retrograde that's coming up, look at the 2017 year to see, kind of get a general feel of what that was like for you during then. I expect, because we've got the metal aspect the ox year, and the ox is again all about hard work. My feeling is that this month there's going to be a lot of breaking free of old patterns. So when you're talking about retro-rama, like, well, let's go for it. Because this doesn't end on October 1st. The Yin Fire month goes until from September 7th to October 7th. Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
And did you draw a card?
I did.
for
I was just going to
September?
say that. Yeah. So I use the I Ching deck, the Tao Oracle by Mahadeva Padma, and I drew number 4, the Youthful Folly card. It is focuses on impulsiveness, immaturity, bluffing, ignorance, learning, impatience, and reckless behavior. Doesn't sound real good, but when I did the clarifying focus line, it really is wants to reinforce that each lesson, even the painful ones, gives you the insights. So, if you, as I put it, if you've fallen down and skinned your knee, don't be discouraged. Just pick yourself up and brush yourself off and keep moving. So if you get a little too crazy and too, strutting around like hot stuff this month, you might fall flat on your face. It's not the end of the world. You just can get up and keep on moving. That's kind of that volatility and impulsiveness.
Well, are you ready to move on to October, or do you have more to say about September?
Well, I just have two comments. There are 2 dates that I would encourage people to avoid making any irrevocable decisions, and that would be on the 16th. It's what they call the month breaker day, and then there's another month breaker day, which is on the 28th. The reason why they call them month breakers is because those are both rabbit days, and rabbits and roosters are conflict animals. So even Wednesday the 8th is the conflict animal is goat and ox. They aren't friendly either. So that would be 8th and the 20th. So those would be the days that I would kind of go, we'll just kind of pause. Doesn't mean that you can't make a decision, but kind of like retrograde, you may find yourself having to revisit that course of action.
Interesting about the 28th. Interesting about the 28th, because Mercury will be just barely starting to retrograde backward at that time.
Oh, wow. So maybe the 28th you need to stay home and read a good book.
Or, yeah, life goes on.
Or not.
Okay, so moving to October, so we can be sure to talk about all of them. October starts out intense, lightens up, and then gets intense again. Mercury is retrograde until the 18th, which means that there's a kind of a communication and travel advisory. Doesn't mean not to do things, but know that there may be extra time, there may be confusion, and on the flip side, you have the opportunity to find threads that you dropped, deal with business that you didn't quite handle the first time around, and learn things, particularly about agreements and relationships, because Mercury will be in the sign of Libra, which is where Mars and the Sun will be. The outer planets start lifting their retrogrades a little bit as the month goes on. By the end of the month, things will feel a lot lighter in that arena. There are big evolutionary shudders and transformational events having to do with relationships. The new moon in the sign of relationships, which is Libra, and on the 6th has Pluto stationing direct. So when that happens, that's the furthermost planet, and we don't want to get into an argument about whether it's a dwarf or an asteroid or what. If Pluto's active, you feel it. And when Pluto starts stationing direct, it has this feeling of very slow rumbling of, oh boy, now it's going to get real. The social mode starts lightening up. There's and becomes more adventurous and maybe a little more frivolous. On October 7th, Venus, which rules how we interact with each other, moves into Sagittarius. She moves out of Scorpio into Sag. This is good time party atmosphere, but also it has a bit of Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse. So there's a bit of a my way or out of my way kind of vibe that goes along with it. Not that we're seeing any of that. Two more things. The noise level is hits max around October 18. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's happening. Jupiter is stationing direct. Jupiter is finishing up his time in Aquarius on the same day that Mercury, the planet of communication, stations direct, and Mars is pumping up Jupiter when this happens. This basically means everyone will be shouting at everyone else and thinking, I can do everything. There's a huge, like a high that comes off of this, which may be completely unrealistic. So we could all just have like sugar rushes and then sugar crashes. The last 10 days of the month are very Halloween-y-ish. We'll just be feeling the spooks. There are a number of aspects in particular that get very spooky up to October 30 and will be having us diving into deep, secret, intense territory. And this also conveys what I call X-ray vision. So your ability to read situations might be heightened, and there will be a very, very strong sense of the veil being thin. And with that, we have to take a break, and we'll give Beverly's part of October when we come back after the break. Want help with your own celestial compass? Visit my site, empowermentunlimited.net, for Astro Insight forecasts for each week, month, and new and full moon. Want to explore the personal impact? Make a decision? Understand another person? It is possible. Click the Services tab to book a personal session with me. That address again, empowermentunlimited.net. Welcome back to Celestial Compass. This is Kathy Biehl, and we are doing a end of 2021 forecast festival, and I'm talking with Beverly Biehl, the intuitive interior and no relation that we know. And Beverly now will talk about October.
Yay! So October 8th through November the 6th is the Yang Earth Dog Month. This is so Yang Earth represents gathering. It's a mature energy. It tends to be a sensible, realistic, truthful type of an energy. It's that Yang Earth is wonderful for thinking about it as a mountain. It's durable. It's immovable, which often means that there's going to be some obstacles. And then when you combine that with the dog energy, that means that you basically have the ability this month for getting a little too focused on your way or the highway, which is what Kathy just said about and so it's the dog energy can be very loyal. It can be increasingly some people might even say they like cults. They like to be focused. It's like, I believe you. I know you keep kicking me, but I'm your dog. So that's been one of the challenges with dog energy. They don't know often when to let go of that stick, even. And they defend themselves and their territory with great fierceness. So when you combine that dog tendency with the Yang Earth element, people are going to be digging their heels in pretty hard. But once they kind of start to when they have some good people to follow, that energy is phenomenal. Spirituality, wellness, those are the two things where a focus on that helps the people in this month to go within, to find out, well, is my loyalty in the right direction? Is my focus the right focus? Am I defending something that is worthy of being defended? So that the dates that are challenging for October from the Chinese metaphysical perspective, the year breakers are the ones that can be a little bit more difficult. Those are going to be on Saturday, October 2nd. That's one of the goat months. We've got the 14th and the 26th. There's three of them this month, in October. And then on October 11th and October 23rd, those are what they call the month breakers. And those are a little, again, I would just try to avoid scheduling surgery on those days. But that was fascinating with when you're talking about, all the planets moving back direct, going back, looking at everything and the volatility of it all. I would suggest having not just a solid plan A, but make sure you've got a plan B, C, D, and maybe even E, because there's bound to be some unknown situations. And so get rid of the worry and just know that you are taken care of no matter what. Shall we move on to November now? Now I'm super curious what you've got for November.
Well, do you have a card? Do you have a card for October?
Sorry, I forgot the card again. Yes. It is card number 59. It's called Dispersion. The watchwords here are diffuse negativity, restore harmony, circulate, revitalize, dissolve divisions, and lighten up. It is very important with this clarifying card to look for any attitudes that you might be harboring that are contributing to suspicion, alienation, and discord, and let them go. Because that's we got to start within ourselves.
Excellent. So are we ready for November?
Yes, ma'am.
November is a mixed bag, and there are four big things I want to talk about. The first is on the 5th, we have a real gear shift in energy. Our social mode, Venus, moves into what I call Santa baby territory. Venus moves into Capricorn, and she wants it real, and she wants it long term, and she'd rather have you give her stock than buy her flowers, okay? And on that same day, Mercury, how we communicate, is moving into Scorpio. The two of them will be traveling in a really mutually supportive relationship and making it possible for us to really take what I call that X-ray vision and to look at to just be very bottom line about our relationships and dealings. The 10th is a day of walking your talk, of fighting words, of thinking something and having it happen. Really, really powerful Mercury-Mars aspects, and particularly butting up against Saturn, which is adulting, structure, the government, the status quo, old ways of doing things. That could be a really powerful, potent day. It could be a day where it's a demand for action, and it could be that authority clamps down. It could be that others go against authority. But in your own life, you will find that something's happening where you think something and you do it, and you're just pushing against the walls and trying to knock them down. I want to point out the full moon in November because it is the first lunar eclipse, the first eclipse in the next cycle of eclipses. We've had eclipses on the communication and information axis, Gemini and Sagittarius, since summer of 2020. In November of this year, we start the next eclipse family involving Taurus and Scorpio, which has to do with resources and money and things like that. And the first eclipse is a door closer, a chapter ender in Taurus on the 19th, and Venus, which rules what we want, is going to be working in cahoots with the cosmic quick change artist. So there could be sudden and almost breathtaking reshuffling of things in your life at that point, ultimately in a good way. And then on the 21st, the Sun and Mercury move into Sagittarius, the good time Charlie territory, the let's go have a party, let's make a joke about it, and oh, by the way, I know better than you do, Roadhouse territory. And that takes us into December. So, what do you see, Beverly?
Oh my gosh. This is the best. Sorry. Okay. So I love how both these schools are saying very similar things, but in just slightly different ways. So
absolutely.
From November, of course, November 7th through December the 6th. Okay, of course, this is all, this Yin Earth Pig is the month. So this is the 12th sign. The pig was the last of all of the animal signs, and the three little pigs and the wolf huffing and puffing and blowing the house down. That's what, according to lore, that's why the pig was the last of the animal signs, because a wolf blew the house down and he had to rebuild the house. I can't make this up. It makes me immune. I get giggly. But the Yin Earth energy is associated with soil, dust, and sand. It's like the growing medium. It's the element that is the most giving and nurturing. It is the element that truthfully can get really taken advantage of. And unless it is constantly working to replenish itself and surrounding with people who are also putting energy back into the Yin Earth people, they can really get depleted and just they just keep giving until they literally drop. But it is also that, if you think about that mothering energy, it's so there's a lot of leadership that can happen, and a lot of the moms coming home and saying, all right, kids, let's get yourself straightened back up, because this is not working. So when you said the planet of adulting and the adulting and there's action, I just was giggling because I could just see the mom coming back in and it's like, all right, straighten up. And then when, the pig energy, pigs actually, they are a symbol of wealth in a lot of traditional Chinese culture. The pig animal is known to really love their entertainment. They love to play. So when you see the sun's moving into Sagittarius on the 21st, so they can start to party. I just had to laugh because pigs enjoy the finer things in life. They also enjoy being in control of the situation because they have opinions that are better than others. Orwell's Animal Farm with the pigs thing, that all animals are equal except we are more equal. That's kind of also part of the lore here, too. I know. Isn't that funny? But pigs are such social creatures. And again, in real life as well as in the Chinese tradition, they love to have a good time. They're thoughtful, they're sensible, they've got this great sense of humor. But they also don't appreciate injustice. And so when you're talking, Kathy, about instant manifestation, that is that pig energy, the Yin Earth pig, literally whatever they're going to plant, whatever they're going to begin, it's going to grow, it's going to manifest, and they will not stop until it does. So the challenging dates for November, the 4th is a month breaker. The 7th of November is a year breaker. The 17th is a month breaker, followed very rapidly by the 19th, which is the year breaker. So again, when you were saying that that's when the lunar eclipse is on the 19th, that's a double date that needs to be really paid attention to. Then there's another month breaker date on the 29th. So there's a lot of potential for, as you said, the veil is real thin. Knowing that I would be using that intuitive nature that the yin earth naturally has, and then the pig energy, just they know how to focus on what other people are, what is it that they need, and how to be delivered. So as far as the clarifying card, this is number 21. It's called Biting Through. Take decisive action, restore order, force applied with a sensitivity, justice, and tenacious devotion to a task. So this really is this month talking about exposing any funky inner attitude, because that inner attitude can affect every other apple in the barrel. It's essentially controlling your energy. Be aware of what kind of, are you the pig pen who's walking around spreading doom and gloom, or are you going to be the one that uplifting things? Are you throwing a wake, or are you throwing a rager? So that's really what the clarifying card is focusing on.
Okay, well, we're going to dive into December because it actually warrants more time. From an astrological point of view, December is the lily pad that we've been headed toward all year. December is the culmination of a number of really big processes. The first one is we are wrapping up the communication axis eclipses that we've been going through since the beginning of summer 2020. There is a solar eclipse in Sagittarius, which is a new moon on December 4th, and this is an event that we will be feeling for months. It's not a one-day event, and it is launching us into a new and, it's hoped, upgraded direction based on everything that we've been revisiting and tinkering with about where our minds go, what our mental loops are, and what the life philosophies are, and the things we've been taught based on where those mental loops go. Now, while that is still kind of playing out, we have the third occurrence of the big astrological event of the year, which is a square, a clash, a demand for action between Saturn and Uranus. Saturn, the lord of structure; Uranus, the guy who blows up structures. Saturn, the one that wants order; Uranus, who says, hey, Saturn's the old ways. Uranus says, why don't we do it this way, and knocks everything upside the head. They've been traveling in this old ways versus new ways, order versus radicalism all year long. It was intense on February 17th when the power grid went down in Texas. Most amazing imagery in action. Again in the middle of June, and Christmas Eve, December 24th, is the final time it happens. They will still be traveling in this intense relationship next year, but the impact will not be exact again. We also are... we are streamlining and intensifying our desires, paring back on our priorities and on relationships and our attitude about money, because the year ends with a retrograde that happens only like every year and a half or so. Venus, the planet that rules everything we value, goes retrograde on December 19th, and she has extremely intense contacts with Pluto before and after this retrograde station. She and Pluto rule money, mere mortal levels and unthinkably huge levels. They rule desire and obsession, and I will explain what that means when we come back after the break. How would you like navigational tools you can use on your own? Visit my site, empowermentunlimited.net, and click the Shop tab. There you'll find lots of talks and guides explaining the big influences at work now, like Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus. You'll also find a variety of guided visualizations for relaxing, clearing your energy, or getting to know planetary archetypes. That address again, empowermentunlimited.net. Welcome back to Celestial Compass, where we are giving forecasts for the rest of the year, and I'm talking with Beverly Biehl, the intuitive interior, and no relation that we know. I was ramming through the astrological forecast for December and talking about Venus going retrograde on December 19th, and she meets up with her co-ruler of money and desire, which is Pluto. She meets with him on the 11th, then goes retrograde on the 19th, then moving backwards, meets with him again on the 25th, and at the end of the month on the 29th, Mercury, which rules our thought processes and our information and communication, meets with him, meets with Pluto. So this is a really, really intense time where we are honing in on what we really, really, really want, stripping away the stuff that's trivial, irrelevant, and by the end of the month, getting consciousness of what we have just done. And in the middle of this, Jupiter, which has a 12-year cycle, leaves the sign of Aquarius, which he's been in since the December solstice of 2020, and enters Pisces for most of 2022. Jupiter was in Pisces from the middle of May to early July, so we got a foretaste of what next year will be like. Jupiter is the traditional ruler of the sign of Pisces, so this does bode well for the atmosphere softening, for people treating each other with a little more compassion and consideration. So bottom line is the end of December, the holiday season in pretty much every holiday tradition will be incredibly intense, stripped down to what is absolutely most important. New traditions, doing things in a different way than you have before, and like recommitting and understanding, having very, very honest conversations with yourself and probably with the most important people in your life. All right, Beverly, what's going on your end?
Oh boy. So it's a Yang Metal Rat month from December 7th through I think January 4th. A couple of different places were unclear about which that ends. It's either like January 4th or 5th. But Yang Metal is that energy is like hard, heavy, rigid. It's like raw materials, and when it's undisciplined or not challenged, it can be prideful, inflexible, judgmental, and being a loner. When you're adding some pressure, so like intense focus, training, demanding schools, anything like that, then you can actually craft tools, and it can be very, very functional and very, very useful. I say that because, when you're talking, Kathy, about all of this wrapping up the communications and, paring down the desires and a lot of focusing. That feels like a really good way of encouraging that, this many people will be able to find the power of the yang metal energy of the month. The rat energy, if you remember, 2020 was also a yang metal rat year. That's kind of bringing that energy back again for December. We all know what happened in 2020. But rat energy is very clever. It's successful. It is abundant. It is, it knows how to go through the little holes and get creative where other people fear to tread. Rat energy, though, and you're talking about, again, the paring things down to just the necessities, that is really something to keep focus on, because the rat has a tendency to hoard. It is, I need more, until you get to a point where it is too much and you suddenly cannot move and you cannot focus and move forward. They are very adaptable. This is going to be a month of needing to adapt. This is a month where imagination and industriousness are going to be called upon, because there will be a great need for creative problem solving. The year breaker dates are the 1st of December, the 13th, and the 25th. Merry Christmas. And the month breaker dates are the 12th and the 24th. Again, you're talking about the December 19th, Venus retrograding through Pluto. Money and desire, that is very much on par for the theme with the Chinese focus of this. The clarifying card that I drew was number 51, the arousing. This is the hexagram on this is fire on the bottom and fire on the top. So it's a lightning strike of energy. It's a shock, a crisis, upheaval, awe-inspiring, dramatic power shifts, unpredictability, a shake-up. That's a wake-up.
That's the Saturn-Uranus square.
That is. I know. That's when I was like, what? Y'all, we did not plan this. Of course not. This is just how it works. But this focus line on it, I just gotta read through this, because again, it says an experience of calm follows every storm. However, it's wise not to roll over just at this moment and go back to sleep. In an earthquake, the initial impact is a terrible jolt, but an even stronger tremor may follow that finishes off the job that started by the first. Better to drop the idea of keeping it together. Instead, loosen up and get ready to roll with the next wave. You can't get any more clear about the focus of this yang metal rat. It is leading us into the following year of 2022 is the yang water tiger. Tiger energy, think about it's a big cat. So you've got this, a little bit vain, a little bit, you playful, very powerful, and yang water element often is associated with financial abundance. And so you've got a lot of really positive things coming for 2022, but if you're going to capitalize on it, it will be very important, as Kathy was saying, to maybe reconsider what your priorities are and be willing to adapt and run faster so you can run farther.
Interestingly, I think the Venus retrograde does speak to that, and I didn't quite explain what it's going to do. When Venus is retrograde, we often get a chance to look at old relationships, what we desired before, what our attitude about money or various objects was before, and Venus will be in Capricorn, which is Santa baby territory. The lyrics to that song are textbook Venus in Capricorn. Venus values things that have durability, that have been around for a long time, have a good shelf life, that you can touch, that you can take to the bank. When Venus retrogrades, we very frequently have situations from the past coming back for us to look at what we previously valued. And given that this is going to be happening around the holidays, I anticipate a tremendous amount of nostalgia and comparing life as it is now to life as it was. And we've already been through a massive streamlining process in so many ways. Venus retrograde is not a time to buy something that costs a lot of money, things tend to not have the value that you think they're going to have. It's like buying jewels in a really bad light, or trying on really expensive clothing when you don't have a mirror to see what it looks like. So we'll be given many, many opportunities to rethink, revisit, and let go of. Not a time to propose. All of you who are out there going, but I think I'll get engaged at Christmas. Well, you may want to reconsider that. I do know of a couple that got engaged during a Venus retrograde, and they had already been discussing this and discussing this and discussing this and discussing this, and they have not married. They haven't broken up, but they have not married. And it's been going on for years. So we just know that this is going to be a really strong wrapping up, getting things in order to move into the next phase time. And whatever the shock is that hits, the Saturn-Uranus square aspect of it suggests you've been getting the shocks all year. And this is the one that puts things in the form that it's going to now go with for a while. Again, we've been stress testing new structures, new ways of interacting, our relationship to community, what we do with technology, and now how are we going to go forward with it all.
Yeah, boy, that makes so much more sense. Thank you for that clarification. That again dovetails nicely with the energy of the yang metal rat. Rats and ox, so the ox energy that we're in, we've got the yin metal, which is again about flexibility. But hard work and focus and technology. And then you've got the rat energy, figuring things out, the creative thinking, the industriousness. The December is not going to be a month of sitting back and just relaxing. There's going to be a lot of hard work, or it can be fun work, but if there's going to be a lot of activity, you cannot have that combination of rat and ox together without it being nose to the grindstone. So I'll be very curious how this all shows up for everybody individually. Maybe plan a nice relaxing vacation for January, though, because you're not getting it in December.
No, you're not. No, you're not. And whatever it is you used to always do, this is another year of, no, we're going to be celebrating things quite differently. So the year end's going to have a very strong feeling of wrapping a lot of things up and then moving them into the next form that you're going to deal with them in. That's not leaving the office early, unfortunately.
No. I would suggest, however, focusing more on Thanksgiving this year. Thanksgiving will be a lovely, lovely time with the pig energy and with that nurturing energy of yin. I would focus on Thanksgiving as being the primary holiday that could actually go the way you think it's going to go, because it's probably not going to be Christmas.
And using Thanksgiving to celebrate, because it usually helps to have a moment where you step back and go, all right, here we are.
We lived. we made it. We made it this far. Uh,
Yeah.
and if that means that you make yourself a turkey dinner and you know do a big Zoom meal eating together, that might have to be the case. It is such a strange energy still. Just all in all, people will need to find the nurturing however as they can, and if that is you doing your own thing without others, then so be it.
And there'll be, Mercury is going to be in Sagittarius at the same time, and this is good for laughing, for finding optimism, for finding the reasons to joke and making light of it, and expressing optimism and gratitude. So, yay! Make Thanksgiving actually mean what it means at the end of this year. And I recognize, yeah.
I was glancing at the specific day on the 25th of November. It's a fire ox day, which fire is great for cooking, for making good food, for that's how you build the celebration. The ox, of course, we're in the year of the ox, so it's about dedication, tradition, focus. But then I have to giggle because there's another designation. It's called a full day. So yeah, wear the stretchy pants.
And for anyone who's listening who does not live in the United States, you can certainly just have a beautiful day out of normal time on that day. So now you know. We're coming to the end of this. This was so much fun. Beverly and I did a forecast via Facebook Live, which is on my YouTube channel, for 2021, and we discovered that we can trade information back and forth in a really fun way. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. Beverly, tell people where they can find you.
I love that. Thanks, Kathy. My website is theintuitiveinterior.com. THE, and then the word intuitive, followed by the singular form, interior. So theintuitiveinterior.com. You can also find me on Facebook under The Intuitive Interior. You can find me on YouTube under The Intuitive Interior. Or you can find me as Beverly Biehl. Same spelling as Kathy Biehl. Still not related, but we're just soul sisters.
Yeah. And we both have a Texas connection, so figure that out. Anyway, thanks everyone. And you can find me at empowermentunlimited.net. I've got a Mercury retrograde guide at